Welcome to Bloodbath and Beyond. Today we review The Collector. Find out how the youngest daughter from the nanny dies. The Collector was directed by Marcus Dunstan. Dunstan's writing credits include Saw 4, 5, 6, and Saw 3D, Piranha 3 Double D, and the Feast trilogy. This movie is about a jewel thief who cases a rich house with the intentions of going back and robbing them blind, but when he gets there, he discovers that another criminal has set up a series of traps and is holding the family hostage in the basement. Alright, so what did we like?
I liked the traps. It was very Saw influenced. Even the camera work, like leading up to the traps, if something gets hit, then you see like the camera zoom in on a gear and zoom out across like the floorboards to find a wire and stuff.
Marcus Dunstan's influence was felt.
Yeah, it was also nice because we get to learn like the layout of the house kind of, because it is a cat and mouse kind of game. You've got the jewel thief running up and down stairs throughout the entire movie while trying to distract the collector. So you kind of like start thinking, which way would I go?
Yeah, this is definitely one of the most clever protagonists in a horror film. Yeah, he's not an idiot who's like, I wonder what this wire is going to do. Let me pull it for a second.
Yeah,
he's played 13 Dead End Drive. I liked The Collector. He was downright creepy, like with like the tilted head and like the dark eyes and with like the mask. Like the whole thing was really, really creepy. Kind of went through the thing, kind of looking, childlike almost, in wonder at certain things. He finds a spider in the corner of the basement and he's fascinated by it and he's got to let it outside. He kind of reminded me of Chrome Skull from Laid to Rest.
And his mask was pretty cool.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of like a black version of The Mask. When he was lacing it up, it reminded me of when Jim Carrey tries to pull the mask off from the back.
In general, I liked the gore and all the practical effects.
We got to see a little bit of nudity from a female character who is most well known for her role in The Nanny as the youngest Grace Sheffield.
It wasn't a surprise to me because in Californication, she's naked all the time. Fucking David Duchovny.
Regardless, we can all agree, those boobs were nice. Way to go, Madeline Zima.
We didn't mention her name until after we've talked about her boobs.
Alright, so what are our favorite kills? Arkin stumbles into a room that's completely filled with acid glue on the floor. Arkin just like grabs the cat, and you see a full clean rip of fur, throws the cat out the window, triggers off the trap, and like the saw blade just clean cut. It was a hilarious and unexpected kill, but it still looked really good on screen. Alright, my favorite kill goes out to Jill. She was caught by the Collector, strung up with barbed wire. Our hero Arkin comes along to cut her out. She wants to arm herself, so she grabs a pair of scissors, which we saw earlier to be rigged. She activates a tripwire, and it catapults her, and she gets pressed right into a projector screen that's been laced with nails. She gets stuck there, and it goes right into her head, and her eye starts bleeding everywhere.
My favorite kill is Jill's boyfriend. The Collector kind of pops up when they're trying to do it and throws a knife into the boyfriend's hand. A big cleaver or something comes and slices off his fingers as he falls backwards into a bed of bear traps, slicing all of his limbs and eventually collapsing on his face. It was just glorious.
How about our dislikes?
One of my bigger dislikes would be how they kind of rushed into Arkin getting into the house. We only met like 3 or 4 people, so we knew how the story was going to play out. It was only about 20 minutes before he went back to the house and he was stuck in there for the rest of the movie. You knew that we were limited on characters that could possibly get killed or could intervene, and we got introduced to some characters like the fence, who we never ended up seeing again.
I would have liked to know what exactly he was collecting. I mean, there could have been a point where this whole build-up, he was actually after Arkin because they ran into each other at the beginning of the film. We've all seen where the protagonist gets the killer in a vulnerable situation and then leaves the scene. That's fine in a limited manner. However, Arkin, who was pretty good at sidestepping the traps and hiding, and it was a fully furnished house, he had access to all kinds of tools and stuff. He had many, many opportunities to ambush the killer. He could have easily, at any of those points, done something to incapacitate him, and it was a very distracting point for me. And now for our final thoughts and ratings. This movie was awesome. It had really cool deaths, great practical effects, and the whole build-up with the traps was very Saw-esque, which was really nice. Our protagonist was really cool in his methods on how he moved around the house. So that being said, I'm going to give this movie 4 human battering rams out of 5.
I really like the killer. The practical effects and all of the torture devices used in the movie were really cool. The traps were awesome. And all of the camera work were pretty great for a first-time director. I really like the Saw series, so I really liked this. The music was awesome. So I'm going to give this 3.5 non-electrocuted fish swimming past a dead guy out of 5.
The Collector came out in 2009, which kind of placed it between Saw 5 and 6, so the whole torture trap genre had really been played to that point. Despite that, though, the film really worked with the traps. The camera, introducing them in various ways, it was really well done. However, the logic of the protagonist as far as surviving in the house really irritated me, and also the look of the killer. Except for the mask, he was indistinguishable from the protagonist, who was dressed just to be a burglar. But overall, I thought it was a really great movie. So that being said, I'm going to give it 3.5 tea parties out of 5.
And that's what we thought about The Collector. If you've seen it, let us know in the comments below. If you have any movies you'd like us to review, request them. This was actually a request from the Jericho 1123, once again, with his request for The Collector and The Collection, which we'll be bringing to you soon. Don't forget to tweet at us at Bloodbath_TV.